Welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Knowledge. One of my favorite quotes, not just for this hobby, but for life in general, is if you ignore history, history always has a way of repeating itself. And we've seen that time and time again in this hobby. Do you want to know what? We were wrong. I was wrong. You were wrong. We were all wrong about Pokemon. The true longevity of this hobby, we were all wrong. You can say what you want. You can make the arguments. There was a lot of times where, I look back on all the times I've passed over different products and I kick myself for every one of them. No one expected this hobby to do what it's doing. And if you say any different, you're probably lying. I had a lot of opportunities in my life to pick up Charizard's Shadowless First Edition for what at today's standards would be considered extremely cheap. At the time, they were always market value and considered very expensive, and I passed them over. We were wrong. But, as I was surfing through the internet, I happened to come across an article from the Tampa Bay Times titled Pokemon Cards Teach Early Lessons in Volatility. And this article was published on September 9th, 2005. And before we get into this article, I'm just going to let you know this article did not age well. It's important to look at these old articles for multiple reasons. Because I want to be able to comment on them. I want to critique them. But I also want to just use them for their historical implications. Because Pokemon now is a historic hobby. Historic highs, historic lows. Right now we're in another historic high. But I want to just, let everyone know that we've gone through ups and downs before. And it's very, very important. We learn from our history, but more importantly, we don't forget our history. So, sit back, enjoy, relax, and I'm going to bring you guys back in time to September 9th, 2005. I'm going to read you this article from September 9th, 2005. Enjoy. Young collectors who once had a hot commodity learned the hard way that such financial bubbles eventually burst. Mike Lopet stood at the counter of a comic book store, slowly shook his 11-year-old head, and remembered when he was rich. Back in 1999, when the Pokemon fad was the talk of every playground, Mike's collection of cards, neatly stored at his home in Roseland, New Jersey, was worth hundreds of dollars. But like investors in dot-com flameouts and other once high-flying technology stocks who thought the Nasdaq could rise forever, Mike sat on his assets and watched them dwindle away. I should have sold, Mike said. I could have had 3 times as much as I paid for them. Fads and fancies have sent the value of all kinds of assets soaring since the earliest days in finance. And from the 17th century Dutch tulips to present-day internet stocks, such bubbles inevitably have burst. But for millions of young Americans, their first introduction to volatile markets had been Pokemon trading cards. A large number of them had been given a hard lesson about how scarcity can temporarily drive up prices, but that many assets, be they Pokemon cards or technology companies, are only valuable if sold at the right time. A year ago, Pokemon cards were the most popular plaything on the planet. Elementary schools were forced to ban the cards as schoolyard spectators ignored their math homework and frenetically bought and sold rare holographic holofoils. On the playground, dealers marked up $3 packs of cards to $12 or more. The rarest cards sold for as much as $375. Oh man, do I miss the days when the most expensive cards are $375. Now the card market has virtually collapsed, and Pokemon thousandaires have watched their net worth be wiped out. As New World Manga, a store in Livingston, New Jersey, specializing in comics and card games. Children still gather every Friday for the weekly Pokemon League. But even many of these die-hard players said the glory days of collecting have passed. As others played the card game behind him, Alex Formato, a 12-year-old Pokemon collector from West Orange, New Jersey, sold 3 relatively rare cards to Tung Chen, co-owner of New World Manga. Last year, Alex would have been paid in cash. These days, he just gets store credit, a sign of how far the Pokemon market has fallen. Alec has some 10,000 cards, and there are days he wonders why he held on to them. Why didn't he sell last spring when Pokemon cards were still the hottest thing around? Yes, I told you this article was not going to age well. I have the original set completed, Alex said. Everyone used to want the whole set. It would have been worth $400. Now, it's $200 or less. On eBay, the highest bids for the first edition base set Charizard, a rare Pokemon card, once valued at $375, have been $100 lately. Oh my God, can you imagine? $100 base set first edition Shadowless Charizard. Yep. Anyways, booster packs that dealers were paying $4.75 for can now be had for $1, said Brian Wallace, a collectible dealer. Boxes of Japanese cards that a year ago fetched $300 now sell for $80, he said. Wallace dove into the Pokemon fad in 1999. But these days, he is back to buying and selling Beanie Babies. Oh my God. And kid culture has moved on to the next thing. Oh yeah. This article is aging terribly. Now, everyone likes Digimon, said Molly Barinas, 10, after winning a games during last week's Pokemon League at New World Manga. Michael Kuros, the chief executive of Affiliated Pros, which runs a Pokemon card trading site, said he's watched the number of cards sold on his site plummet just as the bull market began to lose steam. I found the amount of cards sold on my site was directly proportional to the stock market's value, Krios said. When it dipped, I sold fewer cards. The number of daily visitors to my site, just like the NASDAQ, peaked in April. Other youngsters have been left wondering why anyone was paying more than $300 for a shining trading card in the first place. It's kind of funny that the regular cards with foil stuff on them were ever worth so much, said Molly, the 10-year-old who doesn't care about the card prices, but is disappointed that it's getting harder to find people with whom to play the actual Pokemon game. But more than a few Pokemon players like technology stock bulls who saw Gateway's disappointing holiday computer sales figures as a buy-in opportunity. Think the game will be back. Yes, you read that correctly in this article. They compared Pokemon to Gateway computers. Yeah. Zach Jacobs, 11, of Florham Park, New Jersey, bought a price guide last year and calculated the value of his hundreds of Pokemon cards. They supposedly were worth more than $2,000. He sold a few cards to friends, getting $18 for a couple of them, but he only made about $80 total on his sales. I would love to see what that price book looks like. That would be a very interesting read. We could probably make a whole video just on that price book. He has not gone back to the price guides to see how far the value of his collection has fallen, and that would not be reliable anyways. Some guides, their livelihood depend on interest in Pokemon remaining strong, have kept the list price for Pokemon cards high, despite falling prices on eBay. Among wholesale dealers and in-schoolyard transactions. Meanwhile, some price guide editors, along with collectors like Zach, predict prices will rebound. You know what, Zach? You were right. Prices did rebound. Good job, buddy. 11-year-old. Probably when the new sets come out, the prices will go up again, Zach said. Jim O'Brien, a long-haired 14-year-old with a whispery mustache as well as a Pokemon baseball cap and jacket, said part of the problem was that people were selling Pokemon at outrageous, unjustified prices. But he does not think the Pokemon cards are down for good. Everything old is new again, said Jimmy, who has traveled to Los Angeles and Minnesota to compete in Pokemon tournaments. Lava lamps went out and came back, so this might too. You know what? Good for you, Jimmy. You cracked the mystery of Pokemon. We've been looking all over the place to understand what's going on with the price of Pokemon cards. We got 14-year-old Jimmy figured it out years ago. It's all relative to lava lamps, guys. It's all relative to lava lamps. But there are other former Pokemon players who say the game is over. The cards, part of an elaborate marketing campaign, were created for two players to face off with their own carefully constructed deck of Pokemon characters. Players randomly drew several Pokemon from their deck, then flipped coins to see how much damage their characters can inflict on their opponents. Colin Oedel, 13, of Livingston, New Jersey, bought his first Pokemon cards in 1998 before the fad really took off. When other kids caught on, he watched the list price of his cards surge past the value of his carefully compiled collection of glass. I've thought about selling from time to time to get extra money, Colin said, but I've never done it. Now that the market has collapsed, Colin said he could not obsess over the missed opportunity. Advice investors in, say, Priceline.com or Pets.com may find hard to be so grown up about. Colin is moving on to play Magic, but now says his Pokemon days honed his skills at addition, improved his organization, and taught him about the value of collecting, not to mention the fickleness of markets. I love this line right here. It's a little disappointing, Colin said, but life is life. Well, guys, that was September 9th, 2005. Pokemon's dead. The market's crashed. There's no recovering. Shadowless base set first edition Charizard, at a peak of $375, crashed and burned to $100. Oh, the glory days. We'll never see those type of numbers again. We'll never reach the untouchable, unattainable $375. Such a large amount. Man, I wish we all sold back then. Now we're just stuck with $100 for Shadowless first edition base set cards. What a shame. Well, no, not really. I don't think that's how it turned out, guys. But you know what? At whatever time you're living in this hobby, it's always worst case scenario. It's always going to crash. It's always going to burn around you. You're always going to be the bag holders. You know what? We got to learn from our history, guys. No one controls your destiny. The only person who controls your destiny is you. At the end of the day, only invest in Pokemon if it's something you believe in. Which person are you in this article? Are you the guy that says Pokemon's never going to rebound? Are you the guy that says, yeah, Pokemon crashed, but I'm not holding on because I do believe the cards will go back up? I wonder out of these kids who stayed with Pokemon. I wonder who has the huge collection. I wonder who's sitting on top of the mountain out of these guys. It would be very interesting to see a follow-up for this story. But this existed. This was the belief. Just like today, and just like tomorrow, there will always be people that are bullish, and there will always be people that are bearish for this hobby. No one knows the future, but we have to study our past to know where the future will bring us. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. The future in this hobby has been and always will be bright. There will be bumps along the road, there will be ups and downs. But at the end, we're all going to be better off. I hope you guys enjoy this channel. I hope we're on this journey together. And I hope we can find some more articles like this and read them together as a group. Listen, if you have been watching these videos and you're still not subscribed to this channel, please hit that subscribe button. But if you guys are along this journey with me, hit that like button. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps out this channel a lot. Boost this video up. Make it available to more people. But other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you on the next video.